The biggest lie in space exploration is that rockets need to be more powerful to reach Mars. They don't. They need gas stations, and right now, SpaceX and a company called Orbit Fab are building the first fuel depots in orbit. This changes everything, and almost nobody is paying attention. Here is what most people get wrong. Starship is the largest and most powerful rocket ever built. It generates over 16.7 million pounds of thrust at liftoff. But here is the dirty secret. After Starship burns through its fuel just reaching low Earth orbit, its tanks are nearly empty. It cannot reach Mars on what is left. Not even close. The rocket is powerful enough to leave Earth, but not powerful enough to leave Earth and cross interplanetary space on a single tank. That sounds like a design flaw. It is actually the entire strategy. Now pay attention because this is where the genius kicks in. SpaceX's plan requires launching multiple tanker versions of Starship to meet the main ship in orbit and transfer propellant. We are talking roughly 10 to 15 refueling flights for a single Mars-bound Starship. In March 2025, SpaceX successfully demonstrated its first propellant transfer during Starship Flight 7, moving liquid oxygen between internal tanks in microgravity. That was the proof of concept. Ship-to-ship transfer between two starships in orbit comes next, and SpaceX is actively working toward that milestone under its NASA Human Landing System contract. Now here is where it gets even more interesting. A company called Orbit Fab is approaching this from a completely different angle. They are not building rockets. They are building the refueling infrastructure itself. Think of them literally as the gas station company of space. In 2021, Orbit Fab launched Tanker 001 Tenzing, a small fuel depot carrying hydrazine propellant into low Earth orbit on a SpaceX rideshare mission. They also developed something called RAFTI, a rapidly attachable fluid transfer interface. It is essentially a standardized fuel cap for satellites, the same way every car on Earth uses a similar fuel nozzle. Orbit Fab wants every future satellite built with a RAFTI port, so any spacecraft can pull up and refuel. Stop and think about what this means. Right now, when a satellite runs out of fuel, it becomes space junk. Billions of dollars, dead. Orbital refueling means satellites could operate for decades instead of years. Military satellites could reposition without fuel limitations. And deep space missions could top off their tanks before the long journey, making Mars missions dramatically more feasible. But here is the controversial reality. Transferring cryogenic propellant like liquid methane and liquid oxygen in zero gravity is brutally difficult. These liquids boil off constantly. In microgravity, liquid and gas mix unpredictably inside tanks. Nobody has done full-scale cryogenic transfer between two vehicles in orbit yet. SpaceX is attempting something that has never been accomplished in the history of spaceflight. NASA's own timeline for the Artemis lunar landing depends on SpaceX solving this problem. If they fail, the entire Moon to Mars architecture stalls. The stakes are enormous. Orbital refueling is not a side project. It is the single enabling technology that determines whether humans become a multiplanetary species or stay stuck in low Earth orbit for another 50 years. Every Mars plan, every lunar base, every deep space mission assumes this problem gets solved. If this blew your mind, follow this page because we make the future make sense before it arrives. Now here's my question. Do you trust that SpaceX can actually pull off orbital refueling at the scale needed for Mars? Or is this the biggest overpromise in space history? Drop your take in the comments.